Hello, this is Benjamin Fulford speaking on March 20th, 2026. Judging from most of the English language media, there's almost complete censorship right now of what is really happening, and what is really happening is quite extraordinary. First of all, there's a full-blown military revolt underway in the United States. Okay, this is can be seen in the media to some extent with Joe Kent, the head of the anti-terrorism task force, resigning. Take a look at this clip with Tucker Carlson showing why he resigned.
I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. How did you reach that conclusion?
I think this is key. I mean, this would be more challenging to explain had the Secretary of State, the President, and the Speaker of the House not come out and said that we conducted this attack at this time because the Israelis were about to do so. So that takes away the argument that there was an imminent threat, as in Iran was planning to attack us immediately. That just simply did not exist.
Okay, then next take a look at the corporate media reaction.
Sources are saying that Joe Kent, the former director of the United States National Counterterror Center, this is from Semaphore, he just resigned. He's now under FBI investigation for allegedly leaking classified information. And the investigation predates his departure.
They're going to try to charge Joe Kent with leaking classified information and put him in jail. But they're not willing to arrest people who are caught on video torturing and murdering children. Is that what the United States has come to? Is that the sort of government you want? This is not going to be allowed to continue. And I've received multiple intelligence communications from military white hats that Trump tried to order the U.S. military to start a ground war in Iran and that they are disobeying his orders. Now, we need to take this further because this is a life or death situation. These people use targeted assassinations. They'll try to kill any military leaders who are trying to oppose this Armageddon attempt. So what needs to be done is you need to send special forces into the Treasury Department, the fake White House studio in Florida, and the headquarters of the major media companies like Google, Meta, and the various networks. They need to be occupied by the military so that they can start conveying the truth to the people. For example, one truth they are not announcing is that Iran has sent a message to all major countries saying that the Strait of Hormuz is open. The only country they are blocking is the United States and their rulers in Israel. So the Straits of Hormuz are open. It's only the Americans who are being blocked. Now, the other big news item that's not being reported, but that needs to be reported, is that a ground war has started. Israel is now being invaded or occupied, or liberated, I should say, from these Satanists. And that is another huge news item that you're probably not seeing in your corporate news feed. So it's important for the military to get a hold of the corporate news feed and start conveying the truth to the people, because they all know it anyway. Nobody believes it anymore. And this is a problem too that extends to Canada. Canada also needs a regime change. Take a look at this clip.
Let's start off with this shocking new report. Canada's economy is so poor, it represents a human rights crisis, says the Canadian Human Rights Commission. Agency says inflation, housing shortages, and a rising poverty rate puts the fundamental human rights to an adequate standard of living at risk. Canada is getting so bad that our very own Canadian Human Rights Commission is saying that we're in a human rights crisis in Canada. A new survey that came out today finds nearly half of all Canadians are living paycheck to paycheck. While at the same time, new models show that if there was an election today, the Liberals would win a super majority with 218 seats. It's 172 to get a majority. A 218 seats would annihilate all other parties. What's quite interesting is Mark Carney's scorecard after a year of being prime minister has just been released. Mark Carney's 26 trips abroad, a breakdown of Prime Minister Carney's trade deals and travel after 1 year of office. Here's Mark Carney's scorecard. Binding deals is in green. I don't know why they made it so thick, because we have Indonesia, Chinese tariff rollback, and India's uranium contracts. As for Indonesia, we trade $5 billion back and forth with Indonesia. For context, we trade $1 trillion with the United States back and forth. So $5 billion is like picking up a penny on the street and going, you know what? I don't need this penny. I'm going to throw it into a fountain and make a wish. The yellow portion is all of those beautiful MOUs that we use to wipe our behind with because they're as useless as toilet paper. We signed with Belgium, Poland, Germany, Mexico, Malaysia, South Korea, UAE, Qatar, Australia, and Japan. All MOUs. I promise that we're going to do a deal with you. But first, we're going to write it on a napkin and hopefully it doesn't get wet. As you can see, he only went once to all of these countries, but nothing signed yet. Absolutely nothing signed. He's gone to France twice, UK twice. How many times did he go down to visit Donald Trump? South Africa, Singapore, and Switzerland. He has absolutely nothing to show for it. Just so people are aware, the United States represents 75% of all our trade. That's the one place he needs to go down. Forget the other people, because if we don't have the United States, we will not exist as a country anymore. And he visited Not About Trade, the Vatican. Of course, we know about that $150,000 for his flight and all that caviar and steaks to go visit the Pope. Netherlands, Latvia, and Egypt, and US FIFA. Those were untrade-related trips. I don't know about you, but this looks like a massive failure.
You know, the Canadian Human Rights Commission is saying Canada no longer has human rights. And this is because, again, a lot of the political class there, just as in the United States, are blackmailed pedophiles. So I suggest that the white hats in the U.S. military and the British military work with the white hats in the Canadian military to clean up the Anglo-Saxon world from this filth. And the rest of the world is waiting for us to get rid of our satanic infection. Okay, now take a look. This is Chinese lawyer Victor Gao saying that China is ready to release the Epstein files, all of them.
Dictate to the United States or even to order around how the US troops need to be deployed. And allow me to make one point. I think it is right now the high time to expunge the evil as represented by Jeffrey Epstein and whoever who is with him. Now, this is a very important point. I do not want to go into further details. I think the evil as represented by Jeffrey Epstein need to be fully expunged in the world, including in the relations between Israel and the United States.
Does China have the files?
Well, eventually everything needs to come out to the sun. Let's wait.
Okay. I like that kind of strategic ambiguity.
Okay, so China is aware that the Western world has got some kind of infection of evil, and they're going to try to do something about it. And the key, and this is the real key, is you have to take away control of their funny money machine. Okay, Trump has just offered, $200 billion to the military. You can see that in this clip here with the Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi Sanai, who, by the way, is a complete slave, but we'll get into that another day. She's a joke.
The war is almost over. Why is the Pentagon going to ask Congress for an additional $200 billion?
Well, we're asking for a lot of reasons beyond even what we're talking about in Iran. This is a very volatile world, and the military equipment, the power of some of this weaponry is unthinkable. You don't even want to know about it. Oh, you could end this thing in 2 seconds if you wanted to, but we are being very judicious.
But in any case, Japan has politely said they're not going to join any war against Iran, and Trump goes around saying, we'll give you $200 billion for the U.S. military. Well, that money is just money created out of nothing. Okay, it's stolen from the people, and it is why you are poor. Now the Federal Reserve Board has come out and shown that these NGOs have more than $14 trillion that is taken from people, to fund things like the WHO, which is trying to turn us all into permanent slaves with the vaccine dictatorship. Take a look at this clip.
The Federal Reserve has revealed that U.S. NGOs have more in assets than the combined 2025 GDP estimates for Japan, Germany, and India combined. India and Japan's GDP each just over $4 trillion, Germany $5 trillion, about $13.5 trillion together. Guess what? The combined assets held by U.S. NGOs equals $14.2 trillion of your tax money and that of your children and grandchildren and great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren. Ever wonder why everything is so absolutely unaffordable today? It's not actually rocket science. Government has forgotten the fundamental reasons for which it was formed: to serve and protect our civil liberties. It has inverted the entire formula and decided that we are the ones here to serve, to work, and through our individual labors.
So the key is to remove their control of the funny money machine, and the Dragon family has sent documents to the U.S. Treasury that would open the floodgates for as much funding as the United States and Canada need to rebuild their infrastructure, to end the poverty, and to rejoin the world community as normal, non-terrorist countries. Let's face it, the U.S. and Israel are the world's main source of terrorism, together with their cousins in Ukraine. These satanic gangsters need to be permanently eradicated, and these funds will help. Now, the other thing that we have on offer, the White Hat Alliance has an open offer to the American people that all your debt will be written off. You'll have no more debt, none. Plus, we will return the money that was stolen from you through central bank fraud. So all those NGOs that have money, that's money that was stolen from you. Okay, that's $14 trillion that should be returned to you. This is what's going to happen as soon as we take away control of the magic money machine. And the key is to locate the French Rothschild family and the other members of these families, the Rockefellers. They all need to be rounded up, taken in for questioning, and then we can end this. And it will be a very, very good thing for humanity when these people are finally removed. And it is happening. Like I say, there's a military revolt happening in real time, and this needs to be encouraged. I even heard it on Far Eastern military radio that the head of the Delta Force was on that radio saying that they're not going to go to war with Iran. So the revolt is underway, but we need to get those corporate media outlets from the hands of these people, and we need to start arresting all the Epstein criminals, starting with the fake Donald Trump. And as Joe Kent wrote in his letter, he's aware that the real Donald Trump has been missing since June of 2025. So he's not your commander-in-chief. He is a fraud who replaced the real commander-in-chief, Donald J. Trump, who has been missing since he went to a G7 meeting in Canada in 2025. And that means that Mark Carney of Canada needs to be held responsible for this. This is not how you treat a neighbor. And we can all end this right away. And the military needs to not waver, and they need to go straight into those corporations, and they need to take over control of all the screens so that the truth once again comes out, because the truth is going to set us free. Okay, well, that's what I have to say for myself today. Oh, one more thing. Benjamin Netanyahu, he's now missed his 14th consecutive security meeting. He's definitely out of the picture. They put out different fakes of him. One where he's a rubber mask guy who's lost 50 pounds in a week, and the other ones. But he's gone, and that's a good thing. I mean, it means that Israel is actually leaderless. Even if they keep putting out fake videos, it's not going to change the reality. And Israel is being occupied now. The military is moving in there, according to the Iranians. All right, well, that's what I have to say for myself this week. Now I'd like to answer questions from readers and viewers.
Hi, Ben. We have our first question for today. There are reports stating that Iran has choked off nitrogen fertilizer exports, and with 35 to 40% of fertilizer coming out of the Gulf, do you see this becoming a global food crisis for the West? And by doing this, doesn't this play right into the hands of the Khazarian mafia? And does this turn into a food supply shortage, in your opinion?
The only people who are threatening to cut off fertilizer are the Khazarian mafia. The Iranians have announced that they're not cutting off anything. So if there's a cutoff of fertilizer, you're going to have to go to the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers to solve that problem, not to the Iranians. But yeah, the Khazarian mafia is trying to create a food crisis. Anything they can do to prevent justice for their mass murder of children. Next question.
Hi, Ben. There is news that Cuba has given in to the pressure and is now in negotiations with the United States. What are your thoughts on this, and what do you think is the outcome?
The Russians are now sending ships to supply Cuba with fuel. But at the end of the day, I think that the Americas, North and South America, are going to have to come to a new arrangement to replace the dominance of the region by the Khazarian mafia-controlled United States. So hopefully, Cuba will have friendly relations with all the rest of the Americas in a mutually beneficial manner. But what they must not do is surrender to the people behind the fake Donald Trump. Next question.
Hi, Ben. Bibi's dead theory is now circulating everywhere, and you touched on this already. We are increasingly seeing more AI videos as Israel tries to, quote, prove that he's alive. Is it your opinion that he is actually taken out and dead, or do you think that he's just hiding somewhere?
It looks like he really is dead, but if he is alive, he should be hiding, because personally, I want him to be alive, because I want him to be arrested in front of the cameras and then face a war crimes tribunal and then be hung in public if found guilty. That's what we really want. Next question.
Hi, Ben. I'm wondering about the Q drops that are very consistently saying that Israel must be saved for last. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but maybe you do. And are we there yet?
Well, clearly, if Israel is liberated, then the United States will be liberated. And the other group that needs to be dealt with are all these satanic Nazis in the Ukraine. So I would say Ukraine and Israel and the United States are being saved for last. And that's happening now in real time. Hopefully the American people will be liberated from these satanic cultists sooner rather than later. And the U.S. military is on the case. And I strongly encourage all members of the U.S. Armed Forces to create a new chain of command outside of the control of fake Donald Trump and the people around him. Next question.
Ivan, we have our last question for today. It says, I don't think Mark Carney will last 6 months. It doesn't make me feel comfortable of hearing the bad news about Indian immigrants in Canada creating huge criminal networks in major cities, except for Montreal, Quebec City, and any maritime cities. The whole creation of India, after all, had a Zionist pretext, and India today is essentially an Israeli colony, just like the United States. Many of the Hindu nationalists in India are Israeli spies, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on this take?
Well, certainly Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in the Epstein files, and he's gone out of his way to suck up to the Israeli regime. So they must have some compromise on him. However, I wouldn't, I think overall India is an English-speaking friend of the Anglo-Saxon world, and we should have good relations with India. And as far as immigrants creating crime networks is concerned, clearly in the past few years, Canadian immigration policy has degenerated. It used to be that you had to be very useful, well-educated, and provide job skills that no Canadians had in order to immigrate into Canada. Now they're taking these high school dropout men, military age from the third world, and dumping them in Canada. That is not what Canadian immigration policy should be about. And I strongly encourage the Royal Canadian Mounted Police to, eliminate all these crime networks and start deporting, foreign-born criminals who are brought in to deliberately cause unrest. Okay, well, that's what I have to say for myself this week, and hopefully soon all the networks will be showing us footage of the fake Donald Trump being arrested.